Welcome to our second Pilates session designed for people with persistent pain. Throughout the standing warm-up, you may wish to remember some Pilates principles. Stand as tall as comfortable, as if being lifted by a helium balloon from the crown of your head. Your shoulders are relaxed away from your ears and perhaps creating a gentle V at the shoulder blades, as though the shoulder blades are gliding down towards the pelvis. You may like to explore holding your pelvis in a middle position. So if you imagine your pelvis as a bucket of water and you tip the bucket forwards to tip the water out of the front and then tip it back and then try to find a mid position. And this will vary from person to person. Keep your knees soft and your feet in even contact with the floor. In Pilates, we do talk about engaging the center, that is, engaging some of your deeper core muscles. This might be imagining you're tightening a belt one notch, or gently engaging through your pelvic floor, drawing your back passage towards your heart. This is just a small amount, for example 10%. Take your attention to your breathing and become aware if you are breathing fast and shallow. If so, start to slow and deepen the breath to a more comfortable level. You may wish to place your hands around your rib cage and just focus in on what we call some lateral breathing. So as you breathe in, your rib cage will expand into your hands, and as you breathe out, your rib cage will rest in. We encourage you to work out within your baseline level of activity throughout the session, and this can take some time to explore. Please explore the range of motion and number of repetitions that work for you. Let's begin our warm-up in standing. Circle through your right shoulder 3 times. And then take your left ear towards your left shoulder, registering a stretch through the right side of your neck. And bring your head back to the midline. Swapping sides, repeat the 3 circles through the left shoulder. And take the right ear towards the right shoulder, again registering that sense of stretch through the left side of your neck. Bringing your head back to the midline. Now float your arms in front to about 90 degrees ahead of you if you can. Face your palms in. If you find you have restricted movement at your shoulders, you can keep your arms a little lower down. Float your right arm round to the side, opening up through your chest and looking round as you go. And then return to the middle. Check in on your position as we aim to keep the pelvis facing forwards. And we'll alternate sides, rotating round, opening at the chest and mobilizing the mid-spine. Try to keep the breathing relaxed as you work through this movement. You may like to breathe out as you turn round and breathe in as you come back to center. And then rest your arms down by your side. Check in on your shoulder position. You may want to shrug your shoulders a little. And check that you're keeping that sense of space between the ears and the shoulders. Walking. Raise onto your tiptoes, using some support if needed. Slowly lower the right heel to the floor, whilst letting your left knee bend. Then swap sides and allow your left heel to lower towards the floor as your right knee bends. And continue to alternate sides. If you feel steady with this movement, you might want to bring in the opposite arm. So as the right knee bends, the left arm will float. Just move your arm in the range that is comfortable for you. And you might find it easier to just focus on one of the movements, so just the arms or just the legs, and that's fine. Roll down. Soften your knees. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, take your chin towards your chest. Then slowly start to flex through your upper back, mid-spine, lower back, and tucking your tailbone. Flexing forwards and down in the range that feels right for you today. So this might be taking your fingertips to the mid-thigh, or it might be towards the floor. Taking a breath in at your lowest point, wherever that might be, and as you breathe out, slowly stacking up through each vertebrae of your spine. As you stack up, think about the lower back, the mid-spine, the head and neck, slowly coming back into your upright position, setting your shoulder blades back and down. Okay, so bringing yourself down onto the mat, we'll start with a swimming exercise. On all fours, with your hands just slightly ahead of your shoulders. If you feel uncomfortable weight bearing through your hands and wrists, you can make a fist if that's preferable to weight bear through. Take a moment to tilt through your pelvis, tilting back and forwards, searching out your available range, then come to pause at a midpoint for you. Thinking about engaging your lower abdominals slightly, as though gently raising them away from the floor. Check in on your head and neck position and try to gently tuck in the chin, so keeping some length on the back of your neck. Slowly slide one foot along the mat, lengthening away, trying to keep that mid position, and then slowly return, and swapping sides. You may wish to breathe out as you lengthen away and breathe in as you return. Again, just move in the range that feels right for you and your body. If you feel stable with this exercise, you may wish to add in an arm stretch on the opposite side. So as you lengthen your right leg away, you might like to stretch your head with the left arm and return. Maintaining the contact with your floor or mat. Shell stretch. Place your feet closer together and take your knees a little further apart if you can, and slowly sit your buttocks towards your heels with your arms lengthened ahead. You may wish to focus in on your breathing at this point, breathing in and out, feeling a stretch through the spine. Again, work in the range that feels right for you. You may feel you need to place your forearms down, particularly if you have any restrictions to your shoulder range of motion. We're now going to move onto our sides. CLAM. Lying on your side with your knees bent and your feet level with a line you could draw from your hips to your feet, resting your head on a support, and you can have your arm outstretched in front, or the lower arm can be supporting underneath your head support. Take your upper hand to your upper pelvis and try to lengthen through the upper waist, taking your upper pelvis towards the feet, registering a sense of space between your waist and the mat. Place the upper hand onto the mat for support, and keeping your heels together, raise your upper knee as though taking your upper knee towards the ceiling. Try to remain stacked through your side as you lower down. Imagine you had a drink balanced through your pelvis that you're going to try and keep still. You may wish to breathe out as you raise your leg and breathe in as you lower. CLAM level 2. Try to raise your feet to hip height. Maintaining the foot position, repeat the CLAM action, taking your upper knee towards the ceiling and slowly lowering down. With the CLAM exercise, your aim is to feel the gluteal muscles, so around where the back pocket would be. I'm going to repeat this on the opposite side. CLAM. Checking in on your neutral position, taking your upper hand to your upper pelvis and lengthening the upper waist with that sense of space between the waist and the mat. Your feet are level with a line that could be drawn from your pelvis to your feet. Raise the upper knee, so taking it towards the ceiling whilst keeping your feet together, and slowly lower down. Breathing out as you raise and in as you lower. Try to ensure that your upper shoulder remains relaxed, maintaining that sense of space between your ear and your shoulder. The focus of the exercise is on the lower body. CLAM level 2. Raising your feet to hip height. Maintain your feet in this position, staying stacked through the pelvis. Try to raise the upper knee, opening up through the hip, and slowly lower down. This exercise does take the hip through further range of motion. Hip stretch. Cross your right leg over your left and try to open up through the right hip, coming into some rotation. Move in the range that feels right for you today. If you feel you have more range of motion to stretch into, you may wish to reach through and hug up the opposite thigh to bring you further into hip range of motion. Breathe in and out of the stretch. Slowly place your feet back onto the mat and swap sides, crossing your left foot over your right thigh and encouraging some rotation movement through the left hip. You may stay here or again reach through to the right thigh to work further into range. Slowly place your feet back onto the mat. Hip twist. Lying on your back with your knees and feet as close together as possible, with your cushion or folded towel between the knees. Have your arms relaxed just out to the side to allow for movement through the legs. Keeping your feet together, try to roll your knees towards the right side. Your left foot will leave the mat, as will the left side of your pelvis, lower back and waist. Make sure to keep your shoulder blades in contact with the mat and then slowly return, sticking back down through the waist, the pelvis and through both feet. Moving the opposite side. Just move in the range you have available. You may wish to focus in on the breath, breathing out as you rotate away and breathing in as you return. You may wish to take a stretch, hugging one knee in at a time. Scissors. Checking in on your neutral position at your lower back and pelvis. Your feet and knees will be hip width apart. Your arms are relaxed down by your side. Float your right leg up into a tabletop position with a 90-degree bend at the hip and knee. Then softly place the foot back down on the mat. You may wish, as you come onto the opposite leg, to breathe out as you raise and breathe in as you lower. Try to register the position at your lower back and pelvis, trying to keep that midline centered position. Taking your hip into the range of motion that works for you. Shoulder bridge. For this exercise, it is useful to remove your headrest or flatten it This is to avoid any strain through the neck as you do this exercise. It's useful to bend through your knees, so bring your feet a little closer towards your buttocks. The arms are relaxed by your side. Feel your shoulder blades sinking into the mat, opening at your chest, and just gently tuck your chin to lengthening through the back of your neck. Tilt your pelvis back, starting to flatten the lower back into the mat, and then slowly start to peel the spine away from the mat. Thinking about each vertebrae of your spine slowly peeling away, moving up towards your shoulder blades. And then slowly lowering down, again registering each level of your spine, slowly coming into contact with the mat and rolling through the pelvis. Just move in the range that you have available. As you start to explore this exercise, you might find that you work initially on the pelvic tilt movement and you don't raise up so high, but this is one to explore as you find your baseline. Try to avoid breath holding as you do this exercise and keep your breathing relaxed. It may be helpful to breathe out as you raise up. Breathe in as you pause, and out as you slowly come back into contact with the mat. At this point, you may wish to take a stretch, hugging in one knee towards your chest at a time. Or if preferable, you may wish to hug both knees in towards your chest. Shoulder bridge with arm floats. Bending your knees a little more, bringing your feet a little closer towards your buttocks, keeping your arms rested by your side. Start to tilt your pelvis back, flatten your back into the mat, and slowly peeling the spine away from the mat towards the shoulder blades, and slowly lower down. Just move in the range that you have available. You may wish to take the option of floating the arms in the air. So as you start to raise the pelvis up from the mat, lead with your thumbs and start to float the arms up to around 100 degrees and slowly lower down, bring your arms down by your side. Again, your arms will float in the range you have available. So this may be a small raise from the mat, or it may be more into range. You may wish to take a stretch at this point, hugging in one knee at a time towards your chest. Or if preferred, hugging in both knees at the same time towards your chest. You can use this stretch at any point as you go through the exercise if you feel you need to pace it a little more. Cool down. Come to stand at one end of your mat and we're going to do a calf stretch. So take your left leg back and keep your right foot where it is. Keep your left heel down and your left knee straight as you come to bend through the front knee, feeling a stretch through the back calf. Hold on to a chair or wall for balance support if needed. Ensure you keep relaxed breathing as you work through the stretch. Bring your feet back together and swap sides, repeating that same calf stretch through the opposite leg. Moving on, facing forwards with your feet hip width apart. We'll now do some upper body rolls. So soften through your knees. Take your left hand out to the side and slowly side bend, bringing your right hand round so your thumbs are closer together, float into your midline, and then slowly stack up through your spine. Soften your knees again as you reach over to the opposite side, gently flexing to the side, bringing your hands closer together, into your midline, and slowly stacking back up through section by section of your spine. And repeat once more to each side. Roll down. Breathe in to prepare. And then as you breathe out, have your knees softened and take your chin towards your chest, slowly flexing forward and down. Moving in the range that works for you. Breathe in at your lowest point, wherever that may be. And then breathing out, slowly stacking back up through the spine. And repeat once more, breathing in to prepare and breathing out as you slowly flex forward and down. Breathe in at your lowest point and breathing out as you slowly stack back up. Setting your shoulder blade position and finding that mid position at the head and neck. Imagining you've got that helium balloon at the back of your head, slowly bringing your head up and lengthening through the back of your neck. Try to shrug your shoulders up towards your ears and then gently rest them back down, registering that sense of space between the shoulders and the ears. And repeat once more. Now take a deep breath in and breathing out. And once more.